Good morning, students. Today's chapter is problem solving methodology. So, let us understand the word problem. What is meant by problem? It's a situation that arises unwelcome. Means we did not expect that situation. So, that problem solving, how to solve the problem. Solving is nothing but we have to identify the requirements and identify the procedure, identify the constraints and what type of output or what type of the result we expect. So that things are involved in a solving. Methodology, what are the different steps involved in order to solve a given problem? See, in our day-to-day life, we come across many problem statements. If you consider education sector like schools, colleges, universities, they need to maintain student database. Okay, so according to the academic strategy, they wanted to group students according to their percentage they pursued. So, for example, if that academic strategy put a constraint like this, above 90 and above students, they have to belong to a particular section, and above 75, below 90, they go to another section, like that, and below 75, above 60, they make a group of those students as one section. So this is one requirement. See, as we human being, we will do the calculations or we will do the process mentally. So how do we think it? First, we'll sort the given students according to their register number, according to their percentage, that in a descending order from largest to smaller. So based on the range, we'll make a group. That is human being thinking capacity. They do the process as mental process. But these data are stored electronically, that is a computerized. Then how to process? How to find the solution? First thing, for this query, first we have to sort the column according to percentage. Then we have to make a group of some ranges, what they have given the constraint means condition, from which percentage to which percentage belongs to which section. So in that way they have to do the process. They have to find the solution. Here what is the problem? Sorting is the problem. After that they'll make a group, isn't it? So the computer, we have to instruct the computer. It cannot understand, or it doesn't have its own intelligence. We must instruct what it has to do, and how to instruct each and every step. We have to instruct the compiler or computer so that it can process as we process. And another problem statement, I want to search a particular student detail, so we need a key there. Key means student name or student ID or student register number. Student ID is better because it is a unique for each student. If you take student name, by that name two or more students may be there. So if you consider only student register number or student ID, we will compare that key with the database, each and every key or each and every register number, wherever there is a match, so we will fetch the data. So that is searching process, searching problem. Are you understanding? Or some mathematical problems. For example, I want to find the factorial of a given number. How to find the factorial of a number? We know that what is the procedure, and we can apply the formula and we'll get the result. Then we have to make a computer to do all these things. So we must instruct the computer. If I give two values, or if I give the age of two persons, I have to make a system. It has to return who is the elder and who is younger. The computer has to accept, or the program or any application has to accept two persons' age, and it has to compare it. Then it returns who is younger and who is elder. So for these things, we will do the process mentally. We know that we have an idea which is greater, which is smaller. We have a thinking capacity. But computer, it doesn't have any thinking capacity and it doesn't have any intelligence. So we have to instruct the computer. Then how to instruct? If I give any problem statement, how to understand that problem statement, how to analyze it, and in what way or how to approach to get the result, and what are the procedure, what are the steps it involved. That comes under this chapter, problem solving methodology. The first thing is problem definition. There are 7 stages or 7 steps. In that first stage or first step is problem definition. So what does it include in problem definition? See, the problem statement, it must be clear. There is no ambiguity in a problem statement. One can understand the problem by reading its statement, what is there in the problem, what are the given data, what we need to find. So those things must be involved in that problem definition. It should be clear. Okay. Then problem analysis. See, in the next step, problem analysis means what are the inputs they have given, what type of inputs, and what are the outputs, what kind of output we may get, and what are the constraints we need to apply in order to solve the problem. See, constraints are nothing but conditions. For example, I want to calculate the result of a student. We have a marks obtained in the exam. Let us assume 3 subject marks, and based on the percentage we have to will give some ranks for them. If the percentage is above 95 or above 85, distinction, above 75 to 9 or above 80 to 90, first class, and below 70, second class, like that. These are the constraints. So in the analysis stage, what we have to understand, what type of inputs I should give, what type of calculation or what are the process we have to do here. Should we do mathematical calculations or any arithmetic operations or any logical operations or any relational operations? Relational logic means it gives a true or false value. Relational, it is also giving true or false value. So before that I'll tell you something about relational and logical operators. Relational operators. Further we will study these operators in programming language. Right now I'll give a superficial explanation about this. Equal, less than, greater than, not equal, less than or equal, greater than or equal. So these are all called relational operators. If A greater than B, so this is a relational expression. Logical operation. For example, if percentage greater than 85, then distinction. If percentage above 75 and percentage below 85, first class. Here both condition must satisfy, then only we can say first class, isn't it? So this is called logical operator. Logical operator, it is a conjunction or it combines 2 or more relational expressions. This is one relational expression and it is another relational expression. How to combine these 2 relational expressions? By using logical operator, that is AND operator. Like that we have OR operator, NOT operator, different operators are there. So in terms of operators we'll study in our programming language. Now we shall study as a general talk. Okay. So now we are in problem analysis stage. What you need to understand here, in problem analysis we have to identify inputs, how many inputs we have to give, what type of inputs we must give, then what is the constraints or any conditions are there in the question, and what type of output we may get, or what is the type of output, in order to store that output, what type of memory I should reserve. These things are comes under problem analysis. Okay. Next, design. See, I'll take a simple example to understand these steps. Let us find a largest of two integers, two numbers or whole numbers. See here, I'll take 5 and 10. Okay, I label it. 5 is labeled as A and 10 is labeled as B. So what is the value of A? 5. Value of B is 10. Now I want to find the big problem statement is like this. The program has to find the biggest of two numbers. Here it is a whole number, no? Whole number we considered as integer. Biggest of two integers. How we human beings think about this? So which is the greater? 10 is greater. So obviously we will tell B is greatest. So we calculate in our mind. Then how to instruct the computer? First, the computer has to accept two values. Then it has to compare those two values. After that, it has to give the conclusion which is biggest. So in this way we have to write the instruction. We have to give the solution. Okay, when I ask you to prepare any dish or anything, you will start from the beginning. No, what are the ingredients you required and what is the procedure. After that, how long it has to stay and what is the output, what you want to make, you'll get that, isn't it? So in order to prepare any dish or anything to eat, so we will follow some procedures. So one by one we'll add to the container. We won't pour everything at a stretch, isn't it? One by one, after there is a sequence. According to that sequence we will use and we will put into the container. After that, after some time we will bake it, then we'll get the required dish, isn't it? So here also, to solve this, first thing is I'll write take or input the values. Input to integers. First step, design. I'm talking about design. So to make anyone understand easily, we have to design the problem solution. How? Step by step. First, input two integers. Okay. After that, compare. Compare as how? Which is greater? Comparison. A greater than B. If. Generally we call it as if. If A greater than B, then what is the conclusion? A is biggest. Then A is biggest. If B greater than A, then B is biggest. Any one of these two will be executed. Then stop. Print. We have to print it. Print. No, we must write this. This statement has to display. So how does it display? First it accepts a value, two integers. Let us consider those two integers are A and B. I must write this. After that, compare. If A greater than B, then you must print, program has to print A is biggest. If B greater than A, then it has to print B is biggest. Any one of these two conditions will be satisfied. If both are same, that is different case. You have to consider another condition there. Here there is a constraint in the question, you must take a different value. You should not take same value. That is the condition. So for that conditional program, the design is like this. This is one type of design. So step by step I have explained. I have shown the solution. Some pictorial representation also there to make you understand very easily. So before that you have to understand some symbols. See here, input, there is a symbol. In problem solving methodology, the parallelogram, it represents input and output. Input and output. Output means result, what do you want to get. Next, compare. In this example, comparison is there. So how to write comparisons in a rhombus? What is the comparison? If A greater than B, isn't it? Okay, here also rhombus. Then print. Print means display. Print again parallelogram. Here also parallelogram. If some calculation, suppose the problem statement, find the factorial of a given integer or find the sum of two integers. There it's a very simple problem statement. So we have to input values, two values. If program about two inputs, then we have to take two values. Then we have to add, we have to write the expression sum is equal to a plus b. That is a mathematical or arithmetic calculation. If any calculations are there in the program, we must use rectangle. Okay, then arrows for direction, circle for continuation. So these are the basic symbols available in this problem solving methodology. See, one way of designing is writing steps, one by one step. And another way is representing these solution in terms of symbols. This is called chart, we call it as a flow chart. This is called algorithm and this is called flow chart. What is meant by algorithm? It is a step-by-step representation of a solution for a given problem statement. We have a problem statement. For that problem statement, we got a solution and we have to represent these solutions in the step-by-step manner. That approach we call it as algorithm. There are different way of design tools. They are called tools. Algorithm is one designing tool, then flowchart is another designing tool. Some more tools are there, use case diagram is there, pseudocode is there. So these are the different tools. But for simple example or simple programming problem statements, usually we use algorithms and flowcharts. So before going to flowchart, let us understand some symbols available in the flowchart. So what are the symbols available here? Oval. This is for start. I'll write here start. Next, parallelogram. This is for input and output operations. Then rectangle, processing, calculations. Rhombus, decision making. And one more is there right now, you have to by heart it, that is hexagonal looping statements, for loop. For loop. I'll tell you later what is for loop. At this moment you have to remember this. Hexagon means some set of instructions have to execute repeatedly until it has to satisfy given condition. So in such situation we use this looping statement. And arrows, it shows the flow, data flow or direction. Next, circle, continuation, and this barred rectangle module. At this junction you have to read what I gave, this for loop and module. Later we will discuss in detail. Right now let us understand these things. So what we understood from these three, so in order to solve any given problem statement, first we have to understand the definition, problem definition, then we have to analyze the problem, and in this step what we come to know, what are the inputs and what type of inputs user has to input, whether whole number or any numerical value or a character value or a string, what type of data user has to give, audio or image, like that, and what type of output we may expect it has to give. And design, we already come to know the solution in the analysis step itself, we came to know the procedure. Now we have to implement that procedure by using some tools like algorithms and flowcharts. After that, coding. So once you come to know about the procedure, or once you solve the problem, then we have to implement it. We have to implement in any programming language. You have to convert that common language into syntax of any given or any programming language. Every programming language has its own syntax, has its own rules or a grammar. So one has to learn this syntax, how to implement our solution, our steps into a programming language. So once you know the coding or once you know the programming language, you can code that. So that is called coding. Coding means it's a translation of design, that may be algorithm or a flowchart, into a syntax of any programming language. That is called coding. Next, debugging. Bugs means errors. So after writing a program, after coding, you have to check any errors are there. So in debugging there are different kind of errors. So if any grammatical mistakes while writing or while coding, if you violate the rules, then it gives some error. That is one type of error. If you make any mistake in the logic, then it is a logical error, and some semantic error and runtime error. So in errors we have different types. Debugging is nothing but correcting and detecting the errors. Detecting and correcting the errors. First you have to detect the error and later you have to correct that error, so that it is error free, then it is ready to execute. So in errors also there are different types of errors. Later we shall discuss about that. So right now what you need to understand, what is meant by debugging. Detecting and correcting errors, we call it as debugging. Next, testing. What is meant by testing? It includes two stages. One is validation, another is verification. So once you write the program and it is error free, now we shall test our code, we shall test the program. So we had an idea, and according to that idea we had written everything in the program. We had an approach to solve the given problem. So for that we designed, and according to that design we implemented in the program. Now everything is ready, everything is over, coding is over. Now we shall check the program whether it is working properly or not by supplying different variety of inputs. It should not give output only for some set of input. It should not restrict any particular set of inputs. It has to give output for various kind of input. What type of input it's supposed to take? If I give any number of inputs in that type, it should take. For example, before I wrote a program to find the biggest of two integers, there what type of input I should give? Integer I should give. Any number of two at a time only I have to give two inputs. If I give any number, any integer, it should accept and it has to work on it. Then the program is correct. Then what we thought and in what approach we had written the solution, that is right. If it works for only some set of data, if it doesn't work for some other set of data, then it is not a efficient program. Okay. So that is verification. Verification means the process of checking the program whether it works properly or not, whether it is giving required result for different set of data. ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಥರದ ಡೇಟಾನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವೀಗ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೋರಿಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ, ಯು ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಟನ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ that has to calculate factorial of a number. You all know how to calculate factorial. For example, factorial of 4. 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. So 12, 12 to 24. 24 is the factorial, isn't it? If I give 10, if I give 20, 100, it should work on it. It should not give only if I give 1 to 10 value, then it works properly. If the given value exceeds 10, if it give wrong output, then it is not a good program. It's not a correct program. So that is verification. Verify ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಬರ್ದಿರೋ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ. ಯಾವ ಥರ ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್, how much possible data you can give to the program so that it has to give correct output. That is verification. Then what is validation? Validation means checking of input. Verification, we are going to check output whether I am getting correct output or not for these set of input. That is verification. Validation, am I giving correct data, correct input? The program has to check the given data is given input is right or wrong, correct format data is coming to program or not. For example, in the login form, user ID password is there, no, or email ID password. If you give wrong email ID, it will show the message. That is validation rule will be applied there. So validation rule andre enu? Validation means it checks the correctness of input. Verification, it checks the correctness of output. If you give wrong email ID or wrong password, and password has a standard format, if you violate that rule, then it won't accept it. It shows a message. So that checking process, we call it as validation. Understood? Next, now documentation. See, documentation means it's a way of writing explanation about the program so that further somebody can improve this program. If there is no documentation, it's very difficult to improve the program. For example, in documentation there are two types. One is internal documentation and external documentation. See, in the algorithm I had written input integer. See here. So in the step 1, what I had written there, input two integers. So it's understood, A and B are two integers. If I miss this statement, if I give only A and B, what does it mean? Who has written that program, he can understand A and B are integers, but a naive user, he can't understand what is mean by A and B, what type of values are there in A and B. He doesn't know, isn't it? And while printing also, step 2, if A greater than B, then print A is biggest. If I miss this statement, A is biggest, I want to display biggest value, biggest of these two. So if I display only A, what does it mean? What I am trying to display, in what meaning I am going to display. So that should be written here, is biggest. So it will be display on the screen, output screen, and it is concerned with the ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನಾವು ಬರೆಯೋದಿದು. ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಟು ಇಂಟೀಜರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆನ್ ದ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ we have to write some explanation in the program for each step. In every step I can write explanation, I can give the comments. That is called internal documentation. And whatever the thing display on the screen, that statements will be displayed on the screen, no, that is called external documentation. How to understand this? If I write a program, in each and every step, if I give the explanation about that line, assume we have written a program to find the sum of two integers. So first thing, we should input values. If I write that explanation in the program, comment, I have to write the comments there. Then in the next step, calculation part, add these two integers so that anybody can understand that program easily. And what's happening in the program, what I should improve this program. So these things can be understood by these documentation. Documentation, there are two types. One is internal documentation, another is external documentation. In internal documentation means the comments what we are writing in the program to understand each and every step of the program. And external documentation, what's happening on the output screen, what statement you can see on the output screen, according to that user will interact with the program. That is called external documentation. At this moment, if you not understand this documentation, leave it. When we come to the programming part, you can understand easily that. Now, let us discuss one by one in detail. So already we discussed problem definition and problem analysis. What are the things comes under problem analysis? Input, output and constraints. Okay. Now design. I'll come from design. How to define design step? It's a way of representation of a solution of a given problem statement by using different tools so that a common people can understand easily. So one should, ಈಗ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮರ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ if you write a program, only programmer can understand that. One who knows the program, he can understand. If I write algorithms and flowchart, anybody can understand who doesn't know the program. ಈಗ ನಾವು when you want to construct a building, we'll make a print, what is that, blueprint, and we'll take the sketch of that simulation will get, that is called, that common man can understand that comes under design. Understood? Now what are the tools we are going to use in design? Algorithm, it is the word coined by it is developed by the scientist called Al-Khwarizmi. So the name is algorithm. He is a mathematician. Flowchart. Then what is algorithm? It is a step by step. It is a step by step process of representation of a solution for given problem statement. For given problem statement. So it's called algorithm. Then what are the characteristics of algorithm? Characteristics. ಒಂದು ಅಲ್ಗರಿದಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರಬೇಕು? ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ should involved in the algorithm? We should mention the inputs first. It has to represent input. Then it should have a finite number of steps. It should not contain infinite number of steps. There must be a finite number of steps. And it should be, algorithm should end with the minimum number of steps so that it become an efficient algorithm. And it should give a definite number of steps. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ಗರಿದಮ್. ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಯು ಫಾಲೋ, it has to give a right output, a unique output. It should not give different outputs for different algorithm. For same problem statement, you may follow different procedure or different approach. You can write a different algorithms for same problem statement. At the end of the algorithm, you should get unique result. For example, a factorial of a number, if I start from 1 to n, or I want to find the factorial of 4, I can multiply like this: 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. I can approach this method, or 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Any method you can follow, but it should give the same output, correct output. It should contain only unique output. These are the characteristics of algorithm. And what are the advantages of algorithm? Anybody can understand easily these algorithm, and what are the changes you want to make, you can easily tell that, and we can use the common language. Okay, so these are the advantages of algorithm. Next, flowchart. What is meant by flowchart? It is a symbolic representation of solution. It is a symbolic representation of solution for given problem statement. This is called flowchart. So now we shall understand the symbols we used in the flowchart and their purposes. Symbols and purpose. First, I explained before, no? Start and stop, oval. Start, stop. Parallelogram. Input and output operation. Rhombus. Decision making. Then rectangle, calculation. Next, circle, continuation. Then hexagon, for loop, arrows, data flow. And double-ended rectangle, module. So you have to memorize this table. You have to learn it so that you can write this entire flow chart for given problem statement. Now let us take a problem statement and let us write the algorithms and flow chart. First one, largest of three numbers. Write an algorithm and flow chart for largest of three integers or three numbers. Write an algorithm and flow chart to find largest of three numbers. Here he has given three numbers. He did not mention whether it is a whole number or a decimal number. I will consider whole number. So first I will write algorithm. You all know what is mean by algorithm. It's a step-by-step representation. Okay. So first you should read the problem statement. What is the problem statement? You have to find the largest of three numbers. So the numbers must be different. While giving input, numbers should be distinct. Now what type of number I will consider here? Whole numbers. That is integer I will consider. Next, we should compare. How to compare? See, A, B, C. I will consider these three are the numbers. If A is 10, B is 2 and C is 15. Then how to instruct the computer? How to write the steps? How it has to check? We can say easily 15 is greater than these two, so I can write. We can't write like this. If A greater than B, if A, see there are three inputs now. When we can say A is biggest, A is the largest, when A is greater than these two, then only I can say A is the largest. So I can write like this now. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C. If A greater than B and A greater than C, then I can say A is the largest. Then what I should print? Print A is largest. A is the largest. If this condition not satisfy, what does it mean? A is not largest. Already I checked A with B and also C. Now if this condition falls, A is out of this computation, isn't it? There are three computators. I already checked A, so now it is not included in this computation. It should come out from this computation. Now I have to compare B and C. If we can write a solution in different way, in that first time I have taken one method. If B greater than C, what is the conclusion? Then what I can say, I can display B is the largest. Print B is the largest. Computer cannot compare all these things at a stretch. Now, if this condition not satisfy, if this also not satisfy, then what does it mean? C is the largest, no? I can write else. Print else means default case. C is the largest. See, while writing algorithm also, we should follow minimum rules here. Not, there is no restriction while writing algorithm, but there is a format in order to write algorithm. At least these minimum format we must follow. How? If this condition satisfy, then we must write like this. We must write print. What we need to print? You have to write the word print, and what is the statement you want to display on the screen? It should be written within quotes, single quote. These are the minimum rules you need to follow while writing algorithm. It is not much strict as that of program. If B greater than C, see if this condition satisfy. What is the nature of if? First we shall understand what is the nature of if. Wherever if is there in the algorithm, it checks this condition. Suppose if A greater than B, A greater than C, if this condition satisfy, it should not go to this condition. Then how to make this algorithm? It should not go to this condition when it is satisfied. We must write else if. Else if. So that if this condition satisfy, it display this statement and it terminates. Then stop. Okay, stop. From here to here, we considered as if else. What do we call it as? If else, we call it as else if ladder. Right now you have to understand like this, we call it as else if ladder. If more than two possibilities are there, then we will write like this, if else if four variables are there. For example, if problem is about the largest of four numbers, then we need to write one more if else statement. If A greater than B and A greater than C and A greater than D, then A is the largest. Else if B greater than C and B greater than D, then B is the largest. I'll write here. Suppose a program about four variables, four different variables. Then how to write? First we have to input the values. I won't write it. I'll start from the comparison. If A greater than B and A greater than C and A greater than D. Obviously we have to write like this. Then what it has to print if this condition satisfy? A is the largest. If this condition not satisfied, then I must write one more condition. If it satisfy, it should not go further. If it not satisfied, then only it has to go. So I must write else if its nature is like this. Else if andre idalla andre idಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಂತ. ಇಫ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಇಫ್ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಇಫ್ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಫ್ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ. ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಸಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಅ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಇಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ನೌ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಬಿ. ಇಫ್ ಬಿ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಿ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿ, then what it has to print? B is the largest. If this condition also not satisfy, then A and B we should not consider. Let us consider C and D. Else if C greater than D, print C is the largest. So already three variables, three numbers over, remaining is D, no? Then we need not to write a condition here. If D greater than C, don't write condition. Just you write else. Print D is the largest. In this way we'll write. See, the programming the solution approach is like this: if, else if, else if, else. If some more numbers are there, then we'll write else if, else if, else if. At the end, the last case, the default case, we'll write in the else part. So this type of if-else structure, we call it as ladder, else if ladder. Okay. So what I have to write? End of else if ladder. Here I have taken 3, no? ಎರಡಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಲ್ಯಾಡರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಡರ್. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಡರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಇಫ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಫ್ if this condition not satisfy, then it goes to this condition. ಎಲ್ಲಿ if ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತದು. if the nature ಅದು, wherever if is there, it checks the condition. If this condition satisfy, already we got the output here, so the control should not go to these statements, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. But I have written if, still it checks the condition. Already we got output, though you got the output, it's waste of time, still it's checking these conditions, so it takes more time, then it is not an efficient program. We'll get a solution, we'll get correct output, but the approach is different. The previous approach, we had taken else if, so any one of these conditions satisfy, then it terminates the program algorithm. But if you use this procedure or this approach, though you got the output, still it checks the condition because there is if statement. Okay, so this condition satisfy, if not satisfy, so already it checks now, so it won't go to else part. Simply it checks these two conditions. So this is not a feasible solution, sorry, it's not a optimal solution, so we have to use else if. Now let us write algorithm properly. Step 1, start. It's a formal way of writing algorithm. Step 2, input three numbers A, B, C. Step 3, if A greater than B and A greater than C, then print A is the largest. Step 4, else if B greater than C, then print B is the largest. Step 5, directly you can write else. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. ಹಿಯರ್ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಸಿ, ಸೊ ದ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಸಿ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್. ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ 6, ಸಾರಿ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದಟ್, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಟು ಹಿಯರ್ else if ladder over, no, you have to write end of else if ladder. Else if ladder. So I told you to follow minimum formalities while writing algorithm, no, these are the formalities you have to follow. Step 6, stop. This is the way of writing algorithm. Anybody can understand easily. This is first input 3 numbers. Okay, if A greater than B and A greater than C, and it means both condition must satisfy in order to enter this block. In a block ಅಂತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಈ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಆದರೆ ಇಫ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಫ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ನಾವು ಏನೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಅದು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಎರಡೂ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಓಕೆ ಸಾರಿ ಐ ಡಿಂಟ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ನೋ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬೋತ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ, ದೆನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಸ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, A is 10, B is 5 and C is 6. Is A greater than B? Yes, true. A greater than C? Yes, true. How does AND work? AND is a logical operator. In programming, we'll write like this, double ampersand we'll write this. But in algorithm, we'll use a common word AND. If both conditions satisfy, then it enters the block. Okay, right now the condition is satisfied, it prints A is largest. It won't go to else block. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟಾಪ್. ಸೊ ದ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ A is the largest. It display as it is, A is the largest ಅಂತಾನೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. I want to display A is the largest, that is 10 ಅಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು ನನಗೆ. ಎ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್, ಎ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಮ ಎ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಏನರ್ಥ, ಎ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ರೈಟ್ ನೌ ಓಕೆ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ನೌ ವಿ ಶಿಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್. ಐಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ನೌ, ಆಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್. Next, input 3 numbers. So for input, which symbol we must use? Parallelogram. Input, I can modify a little bit here. Input A, B, C. Okay. Next, comparison. Rhombus, no? How to write if A greater than B and A greater than C, then what it has to display? ಏನಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಎ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಆದರೆ ಟ್ರೂ ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಟ್ರೂ, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ದಿಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, isn't it? I'll take this direction for true and it is for false. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೂ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಟ್ರೂ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಫಾಲ್ಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಈ ಫ್ಲೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ನೌ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್. ಸೊ ಪ್ಯಾರಲೋಗ್ರಾಮ್, ಯು ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಲೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. A is the largest. A is the largest. Okay. Then ಈಗ ಟ್ರೂ ಆಯಿತು, A is largest ಅಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಯಿತು. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು? ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್. If this condition falls, then it goes to this direction. False ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? Again one more condition. ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇದೆ, if B greater than C. So you must write one more rhombus. If B greater than C, here also we have two possibilities. One is true, false. If it is true, it has to display B is the largest. Again parallelogram. B is the largest. Then ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಬಿ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅದು. ಇಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಲೇಬೇಕು, ಯು ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನಿ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್, ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 0 ಮಾರ್ಕ್. ಫಾಲ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಫಾಲ್ಸ್, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಸಿ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್. ಏನಂತ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಸಿ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In the else part, that is a statement, C is the largest. After that, program has to terminate. Stop. Instead of writing 3 times stop, I can give connection to this stop now. 3 ಸಲ ಬರೆಯೋ ಬದಲು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? ಸ್ಟಾಪ್. Here also stop. Arrow marks you have to show properly. Now let us glance this. So input ABC means 3 numbers. I'll write 3 numbers. If A greater than B and A greater than C, if this condition is true, it display A is the largest. Flow ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇದೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಅದೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಡೇಟಾ ಫ್ಲೋ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್. Sorry, it's a flow chart. Data flow diagram, that is little bit different from this. So if A greater than B, if this condition true, then true part, here the true part direction, then it has to display this message. After displaying this, where is the arrow mark? Here. Then it goes to stop, and it means it terminates the program. If it is not satisfied, then it goes to this direction, false. What is there in the false direction? Again one more condition, B greater than C. If this condition satisfied, it has to display B is the largest, then stop. If it is not satisfied, then false part, C is the largest and stop. Any one of these blocks will be executed at any given time. I hope you understood this algorithm and flow chart.